Alright guys, it's here. Finally. Long anticipated. I've been trying to get my hands on a bottle of the latest Dior Homme Parfum. Got one, finally, after months and months and months of trying to figure out a way to get it. So I haven't opened it yet. I've got one bottle here. I'm going to do first impressions and then also open up one of my backup bottles of the original Dior Homme Parfum and compare the two for you side by side for the first time. I will spray it on strips, I will spray it on my wrists, and then let you know what this fragrance is all about. So if you want to find out about how Dior Homme Parfum, the latest version, compares to the original version, then please stay tuned. Thanks so much for tuning in to Sebastian with Smelling Great Fragrance Reviews. Yeah, today I'm talking about Dior Homme Parfum, probably my favorite designer fragrance. Came out in 2014, the original, and I've been a fan of it since then. You know, I felt like it was one of the best fragrance creations ever in the designer world, and taking the original Dior Homme DNA and elevating it to give us something very luxury and just really refined, but very sexy, focusing on iris, ambrette, leather, some light rose. Maybe it has some hints of something a little animalic in there, maybe like a light oud touch or something, but it was perfection. It's still, that particular fragrance is probably one of my favorite fragrances of all time, whether it's coming from the designer world or the niche houses. Still is smelling great. So I've got 4 backups, 5 maybe, but finally got the new one, and I've heard mixed things from different folks. Some people say it smells identical, some people say it smells different, so I didn't know what to think about this. So in today's video, I'm going to let you know how they compare. So we're going to do that, but before I do, if this is your first time tuning into my channel and you still haven't subscribed, please do click the subscribe button below and also click the bell so that you'll be notified for future videos and giveaways. So somebody reached out to me, I guess a subscriber reached out, I guess he's a subscriber, I think he is, and he asked me if I know anybody that wants to buy an extra bottle of this, and I'm like, dude, I want to buy that bottle. So I bought it. I paid a pretty good amount of money for it, but because I just didn't know who was selling it, where to buy it, and yada yada. And I haven't been able to go to Europe, so I just had to bite the bullet and get it because I didn't have access to it. So finally it's here, but it's interesting. I have a friend who's traveling through Dubai also during this time, so I'm going to see if they'd be happy to get me a bottle or 2 from there as well, but we shall see first. So let's go ahead and open this up. But before we do, as you can see, they are different. Look at looks wise, there's a little difference in the bottle. There's a little difference between the boxes. I kind of like the old one. I don't really care for the new Dior Homme look. I don't know. What do you guys think? I like this old one better. But everything else is the same, but there is a difference in size. This is supposed to be 100 ml. This is supposed to be 75 ml. But you know what? When I'm holding these boxes, this one is heavier than this. I don't know why. I think there's more glass here. It's a thicker glass. But let's go ahead and open this up. How many of you are a fan of the original Dior Homme? Dior Homme Parfum is what I'm talking about. Not the original Dior Homme, but the original Dior Homme Parfum. Let me know. Put a comment down so I can find out. So I'm opening this thing up. This is a 100 ml version. There it is, right there. So the bottle seems pretty similar, but let's open this one up as well, so we can put them side by side and I'll show you the differences of the bottles. Can you believe on my trip back, on my way back from a trip in 2019 of April or May of 2019, I actually broke a bottle of Dior Homme Parfum in my suitcase. It was a loose bottle that I had bought from somewhere on my trip, and it broke, and it smelled really great in my suitcase for a while, and I was saddened that it broke, but I can't help it. So here are the differences. I can see why the original is a lot heavier. There's a lot more thick glass under there, as you can see, but this one is thinner, and that's the difference between the two right there. Yeah, I like the original design better. I think the new one stands out a little more. They have made the Dior logo a little well, a lot bigger, obviously. So, and then of course, there's more hollow space in here, so less solid glass in comparison to the original. I think that's why this original is a lot heavier than the new one. So let's go ahead and spray the new one on a strip. In this video, I'm not talking about notes. I'll give you a general idea of notes. It's supposed to be, you know, iris. It's supposed to be ambrette. It's supposed to be leather. It's supposed to be maybe some light rose. But that's the original. But let's go ahead and spray this and see. Let's do 3 sprays. Now I do detect a difference, but it is very, very close. There is a difference, but it's not a lot of difference. Wow, I'm getting a lot more rose in this particular version. Interesting. Wow. You know, it's a little more makeup-y, I think, is what I'm getting with this one. Something's different. It's not identical. It definitely has a difference, but most of all, like, the experience is very similar. But some other notes are standing out, and I'm getting something rosy, like a dried jammy rose. Mixed with all the original notes of ambrette and iris and leather. Still a good scent. I really like this. Definitely can tell the difference. Okay, so let's smell the first, the original now. These are kind of tough. There's a little more difference here with the bottle. This also has plastic up above. As you can see, the original does not. I mean, the original does. The new one doesn't, so there's that difference. So that also figures in for the weight with this one as well. So let's spray this and see. Totally different. Well, you know what? I'm saying totally different. It's totally different, but then it's the same. Does that make sense? I think... Wow, there's differences, but it's the same after all, because the experience is the same, but some notes have been amped up versus other notes. So I kind of like the new one more. I'm picking out like distinction between the rosiness of the fragrance. Although now that I'm spraying the new one, or I'm smelling the new one, again, it doesn't smell as rosy as when I first sprayed it. Does that make sense? Wow, I really like the new one. I really do. Yeah, there are differences. But what I'm going to do now is spray both arms. This arm with the new one. 4 sprays. And then this one with the old one. 4 sprays. I'm going to pause the video and then come back to you and report back what I think of these 2 fragrances and what the differences are. Okay, now that it's dried down a bit on me, I am noticing a difference, but it's not a very dramatic difference. They're very, very close. I'm just picking up the fact that this, the new one, has a little more of a rosy presence. I'm picking up something like rosy, a jammy dried rose, a little bit more than the original. The original is also a little more subdued and not as rosy. Not subdued in a way that you can't smell it. Just because I'm getting that rosiness on the new one, it seems a little more opened up, like a lot more alive in comparison to the original, which seemed a little more darker, like a darker experience. So what I'm getting from the new one is that rosiness is giving us a little more of a brighter experience, a little bit more of a presence. The smell is a little more amplified. But other than that, I think the fragrance is very, very similar depends on, I mean, if you guys are fans of the original, you should definitely like the new one as well. There's not too much of a dramatic difference. The only thing I'm experiencing is that it is a little brighter because of that rosy experience. Concentration wise, I think it's very, very similar. I think that's it's a better deal now too, because I looked up, both fragrances are still available at Sephora.fr in France. You can buy the 75 ml for 114 euros. You can buy the 100 ml for 121 euros. So you're only paying 7 euros more to get the 100 ml. So if I'm ending up in France anytime soon, which I'm kind of planning something in October, let's just keep my fingers crossed that I get to travel, now that we're able to travel again since I am vaccinated. I am going to pick up a bunch of these fragrances and bring them back. One thing I forgot to mention is both fragrances do feature sandalwood as well, so that's definitely prominent. So I think what's really key with this particular fragrance is the iris, sandalwood, leather, plus you've got the muskiness from the ambrette, and then of course that rosy touch. That's what's really running the show with this particular fragrance, and I absolutely still love it. Really do love it, except for the fact that the new one is now a little brighter, and to me it smells like it's coming from the rose. Something else can be different. It could also be that it's not rose, but it just seems a tad bit lighter, as in brighter. Anyway, those are my thoughts on these two fragrances and how they compare. I still love it. I think it's a great fragrance. It's one of the best men's fragrances ever. Yeah, it leans unisex. A lot of men even complain that it's too feminine, but what do you guys think? Do you like Dior Homme Parfum? Do you like the new one? Have you tried it? And do you like the old one? Have you tried it? Have you compared the two? Let me know. Put a comment down so I can find out. If I find out more or anything else about this particular fragrance, I will let you guys know as well. This is something I've been waiting to do for a long, long time. Sadly, this particular fragrance never ever made it here to the States. It was never released here. It only sold at the discounters. And I originally discovered it in 2014, being a fan of the original Dior Homme. I was more of a fan of Dior Homme Intense. Later, I kind of got into the Dior Homme after I really got into Dior Homme Intense. So they've had the original, the Cologne, they have had the Sport. They even launched the Dior Homme O here via Macy's, like a Macy's exclusive. But when Dior Homme Parfum came out, it was just like all of them were pushed aside, and this thing was a really, really nice, beautiful blend. Very, very sexy creation. I think it still is. The original and now the new version. I don't know if they're going to keep the original though, that's the thing. It's on the Sephora.fr website, 75 ml, 100 ml, so maybe they have some stock and they're trying to get rid of, sell. But sadly, this particular fragrance never made it here. I don't know if Dior Homme Intense ever made it here. When I first got into the community, I think it had already launched, so I can't tell. But I think the only one that pretty much sells in stores now is the original Dior Homme. And I think Dior Homme is completely removed now in the States. It's only Dior Homme 2020. But in the European Sephora's and also Dior's website, they have Dior Homme Original and then Dior Homme 2020, so they do distinguish it. I don't know why we don't get this particular fragrance, but we must be very, very boring when it comes to fragrances that LVMH marketing team says, oh, those guys don't need Dior Homme Parfum, we will keep it for the rest of the world, kind of a thing. Either way, I still think this is an amazing release, one of the best men's fragrances ever. I should say that it's one of the best modern men's fragrances ever. Everything that's been around since this has come out has not been as good as this particular fragrance, at least everything that I've smelled. This thing just beats them up so much. It's just an amazing scent. Either way, those are my thoughts today in comparison of the original Dior Homme Parfum to the new Dior Homme Parfum. Let me know if you're a fan, put a comment down. Other than that, thanks so much for watching. If you have any questions or comments, please like this video, please share it, follow me on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, and I'll be back with more videos very soon. Have a good one. Bye.